Hi guys, this is Jeff at Slavens Racing. In this video I want to show you my 24 KTM 300 XC-W build. First of all, I want to start off with this is the best bike I've ever owned. I've had many bikes. I get several new ones every year usually. And this new frame and swing arm combination along with the new TBI motor plus all the suspension I've done to it, this bike's phenomenal. It's so easy to ride. It's just user friendly. It just invites you to turn the throttle harder. And it's extremely stable. This new chassis compared to the 23 and earlier chassis on the W models, really no comparison. This bike, it just does everything better. All right, so the build here, let's start with the front. I've got the Slavens Mule Raven forks on the front here and triple clamps. These forks are 49 millimeter diameter, so they require different clamps, and those come with the forks. And then I'm running just kind of a oddball hybrid setup right at the moment because Luxon hasn't sent me my new top clamp yet, but I think it's en route. Anyhow, I'm using a Luxon on the bottom because that's the larger diameter, and then I'm using a Rox on the top, which is the same diameter as stock. And I'm doing that because I want the different bar position. So these have got, you can see a hole here, another one there, and there's one underneath here. So there's 6 positions on this. I've got it in position 5, so I'm way forward from stock. Stock is position 2. And I do that because I'm tall and I've got monkey arms, you know, long arms. And I need the bars farther forward for when I'm in a standing position. Just makes it more comfortable, easier to control the bike. And these forks, I think I've got a separate video on them, but anyhow, they're totally badass. I mean, like I mentioned, 49 millimeter lower tube here, and of course it's got all the cool coatings inside and out. And then the Raven cartridges are absolutely amazing. And those are with the Slavens proprietary mule valving setup. If you buy these from MX Tech or any other MX Tech dealer, you're not going to get the same fork. You're going to get something that's considerably harsher. All right, I also want to point out right up here, guys, Letco. Can't say enough good about Chance over there. Chance is one of the owners. Absolutely great guy. Known him for a long time. That's where I buy my bikes. He's just outside Kansas City, Missouri. If you need a bike, give him a call. Although he is out of the office for the next few weeks. He had some major surgery, but he'll be back. All right, on the front, I'm running a Bridgestone X31 8121. I do not like 9121s for the type of riding I do here in Colorado. I do use 9100s when I go to Baja with all that sand. But here in Colorado, the rocks and the roots, the 80 definitely tracks straighter and turns better in the conditions we have. I've got NewTek tubeless on both ends. Absolutely love those, been using them for years. I've got an oversized front brake rotor. So the rotor right there is bigger. You can see that it's got a different mount, the black mount, because it's oversized. I also use, I just threw a weight on there, just kind of ballparked it, just for when I'm going down the dirt roads. Smooths things out. I'm getting buzzed by a neighbor's drone, it sounds like. All right, so our molecule hand guards. These are fantastic. I've been using, you know, like the Cycra full wrap aluminum guards for years, and I've hurt my hands several times over those years from getting hung up on the hand guards. Since I've gone to these a year or 2 years ago, this style guard, that problem's gone away. And another thing that it does is you can be going down a trail and kind of, you know, get a little too close to a tree and hit it here on the edge, and it will actually fold back some but it doesn't fold into your hand, and it'll keep you. But with a regular aluminum guard, what happens in that scenario is you hit that tree, you know, like right in here, and what's it do? But it launches you off the opposite side of the trail. Well, in Colorado, that's a big problem sometimes because we've got big fear factor trails, is what I call them, shelf trails. And if you go off the opposite edge, you might be going down in a big canyon. You might get hurt, you might not get out, whatever. All right, I also run the E-Line carbon fiber upper fork guards. I highly recommend you guys use those on all your bikes because those fork tubes are extremely expensive. And this area right in here is what gets damaged when you fall over in a rock pile. All right, down in there, Bulletproof Designs radiator guards. Bad Bud over there makes excellent products. Been using them for years. We're his #1 dealer. And he takes very good care of us. And you can see the rubber straps here. That's an optional strap kit. So when you snag this on a branch or something, or when you fall down, it doesn't tear the shroud up. Let me see what else we've got up here in the front. Okay, guys always ask about my dual lever setup here. Well, it's a left-hand rear brake. So the top one's the clutch, the bottom's the left-hand rear brake. And I use it exclusively now. I don't even use the brake pedal. I absolutely love it. KTM rear brakes are pretty darn touchy. You know, it's kind of on or off if you're using it with the foot. With this left-hand rear brake, I can modulate it extremely precisely and smoothly and set the bike up exactly the way I want. You can also see some places here I've got titanium hardware. The forks are all titanium hardware. These bolts here are titanium. Titanium here and here. And I'm going to add some as time goes on here. I also use, this is a ram mount, a ball ram mount. Then that's to mount a phone mount. I've got a new one of those by SP Connect coming in, be installed on there soon. And over here I've got a billet throttle housing. The stock ones are cast, and even though a lot of you guys watching this video have never broken one, they do break pretty easily. You get that bike upside down or whatever, and you will break it. I mean, they're pretty fragile. I run the stock ODI grips, and then I've got the G rips on the end here, which gives my hand a little protection, so it just kind of extends out a little bit. It's not just a regular bar end. You know, you've got this width here, and he makes wider ones or skinnier ones. And those are made by Rick that works our office, Slavens Racing. So I use those as well on all my bikes. Let me think here. All right, Acerbis gas tank. This is a 3.2 Acerbis. This came off of my XC. It does not work correctly on the XC-W. That's why on our website we do not have an application for the 250, 300 XC-W models, or the bigger ones, 350, 450, 500, until Acerbis corrects the issue with this tank. So the XC models were premix. They didn't have an oil tank, but yet Acerbis put a cutout section in here. They just kind of, I think they just kind of guessed. If I didn't have enough information from KTM at the time they were making this tank, these bikes were not out. This tank was out a year ago. And so you can get the tank on, but what you can't do is get the oil cap off. So the oil tank holds enough gas for, enough oil for about 4 to 5 gas tanks. And after that I have to take the seat off, loosen up the tank, slide it back just a hair to get that cap off to refill. There will be a new tank coming out, but I don't know when. The wheels move kind of slowly on that kind of stuff. I'm guessing it's going to be just a few months before we see anything. Let's see, one thing I want to show you on the opposite side over here, because I get a lot of questions about this. That is my vent tube mount here. So we've got these at slavensracing.com. You can call in and ask for them. They're not on our site yet. They will be. And they're very inexpensive. And in order to install it, you just push out the bottom, the push down on the top of it and it will pop out, but I'm going to make a separate video on that. Alright guys, so the motor. I absolutely love this motor in stock form, but it needed just a little bit more snap to it. It's extremely linear, so by that I mean it just pulls the same all the way through the power band, kind of like an electric motor, which makes it very easy to ride. Some guys on the internet are kind of whining, saying that they think it's slow or whatever. Well, I drag raced this against my fully modded 23. I also drag raced it against a 500, and I actually beat one of the I drag raced against two 500s. One of them was fully modded, the other one was closer to stock. The one that was closer to stock, I pulled him by a couple bike lengths. The other bike pulled me by about 3 bike lengths. But against my 23-300 XC-W full mod, they were about dead even. So the bikes are not slow, it's just deceiving because they're so smooth. Alright, so what I wanted was just, at this elevation we lose 20% of our horsepower here at 6,000 feet. Then as you go up, the compression goes down, so your horsepower goes down. And so I needed a little bit more. And I think some guys at sea level probably want a little bit more too. But anyhow, so I put a high compression head on it. We've got two different options there. We've got a high compression head for low elevation, and then we've got a high compression head for high elevation. The high compression head for high elevation obviously produces more compression than the other one to compensate for the altitude. All right, so that compression went from 150 pounds to 187 pounds with that head mod. That by itself gave it a considerable boost to the bottom end of mid-range. One of the other things I did to give it more, make it more usable, was I went to a 12-tooth sprocket on the front. Now I've got a helicopter flying over, getting the whole show tonight. All right, so the gearing in the head made a big improvement to the bike. It just made it a lot more rideable in all the tight trails up here in Colorado, especially going up switchbacks. I can't believe that. I got a helicopter up there, but whatever. He's up there. So anyhow, the 12-tooth and the head combination made a big difference, but I wanted just a little bit more, so I put on an FMF gnarly pipe. In the past years, I've always used the fatty because I liked the more linear power delivery. This year, I wanted more bottom end, and so I went with the gnarly, and it really gave me that snap I was looking for to get up a ledge, to get over a log, to jump a little stream crossing real quick. Just those types of things where you want to loft that front wheel without a lot of effort. So between the head, the pipe, and the gearing, that totally transformed this bike. Then you add the suspension onto it. It's absolutely incredible. All right, so the National Shock, I always run National Shocks on the back, the Slavens Mule National. Right now I've still got the Stalker on there that's been modified by Greg at Factory Suspension Works here in Colorado, because they're building me a new National. They're building a new shock body for the Nationals, because if you look at one of the older bikes, you'll see that the reservoir actually sits more in here. Now it's tucked in back farther. So they had to design a new shock body, the top part of the shock body for that. And then they also mount differently here in the back. So that they had to design that piece as well. I should have a National Shock here before too long, but right at the moment this shock works excellent. Greg over at Factory Suspension Works does a great job for a very reasonable price. All right, behind this cover here, guys, I've got the Recluse X clutch, not the CX, the X. And it works very well. I've set it up with, let's see, this bike's got all steel springs in it, so 6 steels. And the kits only come with 3 steels, but we've got additional little packs of the steel springs in stock at slavensracing.com that you can order at the same time. And that's going to give you a really good low engagement when you get on the throttle, and it's going to keep it engaged extremely well when you're decelerating. It will stay engaged all the way down to idle. Up here, bullet or molecule skid plate. Old Seth over there does a great job, takes good care of me. He's made some adjustments that I recommended to improve his product, and he's done that. He's a great guy. Highly recommend his products. And we've got everything on this bike is available at slavensracing.com. And if you don't see a listing for your bike, if you go to the site, it's probably the same as the 23XC, which, but if you're concerned, just give us a call or send us an email. We'll get right back to you. All right, I've got titanium here, around here. I've still got a few more titanium bolts to replace. And let me think here. All right, foot pegs. So I normally run the Fastway Evo 4s, but I don't know. They're really, I don't know what their problem is, but they just don't have them out. And so right now I'm running the Stalkers, and I don't like the real sharp tips because I have a problem with my boot sticking just for a split second longer than it should on the peg when I go to dab, and then if that delayed reaction makes me fall over. It's mainly when I'm sitting because I'm long-legged, you know, I kind of get wadded up on the bike, and any little thing like that holds me up. So you can see here I've dulled those down. And this works perfect for me. I'm not saying it's for everybody. It works well for me. Some guys go the opposite direction. They like them super sharp. I don't. All right, I've got the Bulletproof Designs billet rear brake pedal, much stronger than the stock. I run the stock tip on it here with some titanium hardware. And back here I've got the Bulletproof Designs shark fin, and that's a special one that Bud made for me. He doesn't have some of the little tabs on it for the other guard, but I just want it lightened up, so he did that for me. On the back I've got a IRC JX8. I love that tire. It's got excellent traction. You can see I put a little balancing weight on it as well. This one's about worn out, but this bike's got a few hundred miles on it already. Slavens Graphics. This is the Seat Concepts comfort seat in blue. It's kind of a navy blue to match the blue on the side panels. Oh, on the other side also is a fan kit, a Trailtech fan kit. And I set that at 190 degrees. Guys ask me that quite often. It's set at 190. And for any type of tight trail work, if you're having a problem with your bike boiling over, buy a fan kit. And we've got lots of other little widgets that help some, but if you want to resolve the issue, buy a fan kit. All right, down here is Bulletproof Design TPS guard. Protects the throttle position sensor. I run the shift lever in the stock position, even though I've got big feet. I forgot to mention the E-line pipe guard, and of course the gnarly pipes underneath that. I think that's about to wrap it up. So the gearing I run, stock gearing on this bike was 1345. I'm running 1245. Went down one tooth in the front. Made it perfect. Got first gear down to where I need it. And this thing's a monster. I mean, a monster in a good way. It's just so much fun to ride. I just grin every time I'm riding this thing. Like I said earlier in the video, it's the best bike I've owned, and I absolutely love this bike. It's extremely stable. This new chassis turns better. It's got a more planted feel in the front. these Raven forks are just off the charts amazingly good. I've tested every other brand of fork out there. I've tested the cartridges, I've tested the 6500s, I've tested the Ohlins, I've tested some oddball name cartridges and complete forks that you probably never even heard of. I'm constantly testing, guys, so I can give you the best product that I can find. And that's it right there. But, you know, I know it's a bold statement, but this is one badass bike that does everything extremely well. It's just a woods weapon. All right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. I'm sure I'm forgetting something. I always do. I can't think of what it might be. So, if you would, like us on Instagram and Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and throw us a bone once in a while, guys. We'd love to have your business. We take excellent care of our customers. We've got the best supply of KTM, Husqvarna, gas parts in the whole world. Nobody can even come close to our selection of products. That's all for now.